Hello there, First Church family. This is Andrew Thompson, your senior pastor, coming to you with our Thursday Thoughts message on this Thursday, May the 28th. Now, I have some very important things that I would like to speak with you about today. I want to talk to you about the way that our approach to worship is going to be changing on Sunday, June the 7th, which is the Sunday after this coming one. It's on that day that we are going to be moving from an entirely online live stream approach to worship to more of a hybrid format. Here's what I mean by that. On Sunday, June the 7th, we're still going to have our live stream worship service at 8:30 a.m. So you can still tune in at 8:30. It will still be archived on YouTube. You'll still be able to watch it at a later point throughout the day. And so that option will still be available to our congregation. But on that Sunday, we're also going to start having a live in-person worship service here in the church that's going to take place at 11 a.m. I want to give you a little bit of guidance about that because one of the things that we're going to be doing is putting in place some safety guidelines and some safety restrictions that's going to make sure that everyone who comes to the church will be able to do that without risk of infection, knowing that all of the guidelines and cleanliness sanitization procedures that we need to have in place are in fact in place. So let me just walk through a little bit of that for you today. I'll start with the live stream. The first thing that I want to say to you is this, and I want you to hear me here. If you have any concerns whatsoever about your own health or safety, or about the health or safety of people that you live with, or even if you have any anxieties about where we are right now in terms of the coronavirus epidemic, I want to strongly encourage you to continue to worship with our live stream worship service at 8:30. We're going to continue to do that for the foreseeable future. It's going to be available to you live at 8:30, and it will continue to be archived on our YouTube channel. So please, 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 if you have any concerns whatsoever about yourself or about members of your family or those that you live with, just stay home, tune in at 8:30, worship with the church spread all throughout Northwest Arkansas and even further afield, and that will be a wonderful way for us all to participate in the body of Christ and to render worship to our Father in heaven. If you do feel called and convicted by the Holy Spirit to start coming down to the church and beginning to worship again in person, then we're going to have a worship service at 11 a.m. on Sunday, June the 7th, here in our church sanctuary in downtown Springdale. Let me offer some guidance about that because in order to participate in that, I'm going to need to ask you to follow some very important steps. The first is that we are only going to be worshiping by RSVP. Now, I know that that sounds a little strange that you need to RSVP in order to come to a worship service, but the reason that we're going to do that is because our sanctuary, which seats 650 people normally, only will seat between 105 and about 150 if we're practicing proper physical distancing. In order to accommodate people in a safe way, we're going to be spreading out horizontally and spreading out vertically. That means that we're only going to have stations on each one of our long pews. There will only be 3 places where people can sit. And vertically, we're going to be skipping pews in between pews to make sure that we practice proper physical distancing. Now, the reason why I say that our capacity is between 105 and 150 is because if every individual came as an individual, we could seat about 105 people. But of course, we know that when you come to church, you don't always come as an individual. Sometimes you come with your family members, with your spouse, with your children, or with your grandchildren. And so we can accommodate a few more if people are coming and sitting by family groups, but under no circumstances can we seat any more than 150 people. It's for that reason that we're going to have to ask people to RSVP, and there are a few ways that you can do that. You can call the church office at 479-751-4610 during regular business hours. You can speak to Crystal Williams or Robin Muse at our administrative assistant desk, and they will take your name and information and the number of people that you'll be bringing from your family. That's one way that you can RSVP. A second way is that you can email Crystal Williams. Her email address, which we're going to put at the bottom of the screen of this video, is kwilliams@firstchurchspringdale.org. You can send her an RSVP reservation. Let her know that you plan on attending and the number of members of your family who will be coming with you. The third way that you can RSVP is that we're going to have an online registration. The link to that online registration is going to be in our weekly e-news this week, which you should have already received in your inbox. I'm going to include a link to it in the Thursday Thoughts email message that's going to go along with this video. And it will also be in the online Connect card that you can access this coming Sunday, May the 31st, during the Livestream worship service. And so in a variety of ways, that link is going to be available to you if you would prefer to register online in that way, as opposed to calling the church office or emailing Crystal Williams directly. So that's the first thing that I need to let you know about. The second thing that I need to let you know about is that when you come, as the same way as when you go to the doctor's office or to a number of other different types of businesses, we are going to have some restrictions at the door when you come in. So the first one is that we're going to take your temperature on the way in. That will be done with a thermometer that does not even have to touch your skin. We'll simply hold it out over your forehead, press a button, and it'll tell us what your temperature is. This is the exact same procedure that we've been following with our Children's World daycare ministry as kids and their parents have been bringing their children. It's just to make sure that you're not running a fever without realizing it. We're also going to ask you a question about whether or not you've been sick or have been exposed to anyone who's been sick. And if you can answer that question with a no, I've not been sick, I've not been around anyone who has been, and if your temperature is normal or below normal, then you'll be able to come in the door. Because you will have RSVP'd, we're going to have an assigned seat for you. So the pews will be demarcated, each one of them with a sign that tells you exactly where you're going to be sitting. So you might be sitting in this pew and in this spot, and you'll know exactly where to go. What that means is that it would be really helpful for us not to have any walk-ups on Sunday morning, because if we have walk-ups, we're not going to know where to sit you because we will have already had the seats assigned. And so I want to ask you to please follow that RSVP procedure, and when you come to the church on Sunday morning on June the 7th, please sit in the seat to which you will be directed by our greeters and by our ushers who will be helping us out that day. There'll be a couple of other things as well that I need to share with you. One is that we do need to ask you to wear a mask while you're in the church building. So for yourself and anyone in your family who is above the age of 10 years old, we need you to bring a mask like this one and to wear it during the worship service itself. You don't have to wear it in the parking lot, you don't have to wear it on the sidewalk, but from the time you enter the building until the time you leave, we're going to need to ask you to wear a mask. The only people who will not be wearing masks will be those who are leading worship up on the chancel. And when they come down into the congregation, they will be putting on masks as well. That just helps to ensure that we're not going to be spreading anything that we don't want to spread while we're in the place of worship itself. We're also going to have hand sanitizer stations that are going to be around. We're going to encourage you to be using those, and all of the surfaces that we'll be using will be wiped down both before and after the worship service. Finally, the last thing is that we're going to have controlled access to the building. I'm doing this Thursday Thoughts message from our atrium on Johnson Avenue. The atrium will be one of the places that you'll be able to enter the church. The other place will be from the west side of the church, off of the Shiloh Street parking lot, specifically in the entrance to the church offices, which is the west wing entrance. Those two places will be our controlled access points into the church, and those will be the two places where we will have greeters ready to take your temperature, ask you the questions, and check your name off the list for the assigned seating. I know that this seems like a really complicated process, but here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to accommodate the deep desire that people have in their hearts to be at the church worshiping the Lord together, with the need to provide some safety and security guidelines to make sure that we're all staying healthy and that we're not allowing a spike to happen here in Springdale in relation to the coronavirus. If we have 300 RSVPs, what we're going to have to do is to allow the first group of people that we can accommodate to come and ask the people who RSVP'd late and we weren't able to get in to wait until the next week, and we can put them on the list for the next week. Of course, if we have 200, 300, 400 RSVPs, then we will start looking at the possibility of having a second worship service on Sunday morning. The key is for us to take baby steps and for us to make sure that what we're doing is prudent, is wise, and is measured. So I hope that you will help us out with that. I hope that we'll all be patient with each other and realize that everybody is ready to be back at the church, but that we want to do it in a way that is as safe as possible and is taking the proper precautions. With that in mind, let's keep praying together. Keep praying for our church. Keep praying for the city of Springdale, the region of Northwest Arkansas, and across this great land, that we'll beat back the coronavirus and that we'll start moving back to a regular form of church life together. I hope that you'll keep praying in that way. And I'll see you soon.